Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to the session. I hope everyone is doing fine. Myself, Chinmay Ray. I'm president of Government Ayurvedic College Student Union and your host for today's session. I also have a co-host with Dr. Kalpajyoti. Today's session has been organized by Government Ayurvedic College in collaboration with Government Ayurvedic College Student Union. So today is 21st June and it is celebrated as International Yoga Day. This year it's the 7th International Yoga Day. So yoga, we everybody know, yoga has been on India like since ages. So yoga is a 5,000-year-old Indian philosophy and science that combines exercise, breathing, diet, relaxation, meditation, etc. So according to sage Patanjali, he defined yoga as yoga chitta vritti nirodha, which simply can be defined as the process of gaining control over the mind. Yoga is a like combination of physical and mental disciplines, which makes the body stronger and healthier, and the mind calmer and more control, and helps us towards self-realization. So for today's session, we will be discussing on what is the role of yoga in preventive and rehabilitative action aspects of drug addictions and mental health. And for today's session, we have Dr. Ramakanta Sarma sir, Principal of Government Ayurvedic College, and we have our invited guest, Mr. Anand Mishra, SP of Nagaon District. So before we begin, I would like to give a quick rundown on the session. Firstly, we will be having Principal Sir's inaugural speech, and followed by the session with Mr. Anand Mishra. And towards the end of the session, we will be having a quick Q&A session where the audience can ask question to sir if they want. So for questioning, please drop down your questions or your name beforehand in the chat box so that we can go on in an organized manner. So now a brief introduction on Dr. Ramakanta Sarma sir. He is principal of Government Ayurvedic College, Guwahati, and he is also head of the Department of Shastra and Vaisheshya Kalpana. Now, I would like to ask Dr. Ramakanta Sarma sir for his brief inaugural speech for today's session. Over to you, sir.
Very good evening. Most welcome. Very good evening. Most welcome, Chinmay, and one to all our students, faculty members. Especially a warm welcome to the young generation heartthrob, Anand Mishra ji, who is an IPS officer. I'm very delighted to welcome him. Though we are in a pandemic, so we cannot meet, but our students, I'm very much happy that virtually we are meeting. And today, this is the 7th International Yoga Day. It is the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister. We have celebrated the program. This morning also, we have observed the program very well. It is already written that yoga also refers to an inner science and comprising of a variety of methods through which human being can achieve union between the body and mind to attain the self-realization. The aim of yoga practice, that is sadhana, is to overcome all kinds of sufferings that lead to a sense of freedom in every walk of life with holistic health, happiness, and harmony. And I am very much thankful for our Mr. Sir Center, and his topic is for today's deliberation in the webinar is a role of yoga in preventive and rehabilitative aspect of drug addiction. Yes, this is a very burning problem, and I think this is the only solution maybe. And we, the Ayurvedic fraternity, we are extremely hopeful and hope this webinar and his deliberation. Definitely, with this short word, I want to inaugurate the session.
Okay. Thank you so so much, our principal, Dr. Ramakanta Soma sir, for your enlightening and valuable words. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that yogaha karmashu kaushalyam means yoga helps in skillfulness of every action. So, shielding that in mind, I would like to invite an eminent personality, a persona who is disciplined, modest, and is loved in every nook and corner of Assam and, of course, India as well. So, I, Dr. Kalpajyoti Bora, take this pride to welcome someone who is currently serving as Superintendent of Police, Nagaon District, Mr. Anand Mishra, sir, to today's session. And welcome to you, sir, to today's session. Sir, am I audible?
Thank you so much, ma'am,
yes.
to both of you.
Sir, so before starting the session, there is a small request. Before starting the main theme of today's session, actually, would you please give us a brief introduction of your journey of becoming an IPS officer, because it will be a source of inspiration for many of our viewers. So, sir, welcoming you once again. So, over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. A very good evening to everyone, and my regards to Principal Sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity to coming and meeting you on board on the occasion of this World Yoga Day. And as of you said, I would also rather, be happy, more happy keeping to the topic than talking more about myself. Sometimes it becomes very monotonous talking about yourself again and again. But as of this IPS thing, ma'am, for everyone, it was a very childhood dream that which I had seen, and I got stuck to this dream, and again there is a very important aspect of my life which is again associated with yoga, and I was very happy to get accept this invitation when it comes to yoga, because you won't believe I was a small time yoga teacher during my school and college days, so I was deep into yoga, and Panini's Ashtadhyaya, that book is there also, and even this Patanjali Yoga Sutra. I have studied all these things very minutely because I had been into martial arts. So gradually I got introduced to meditative forms, and then yoga definitely comes very naturally. I was born and brought up in Calcutta near a place called Uttar Pada, which is very much near Belur Math, and the seal of Ramakrishna Mission and Vivekanand. So I had a very huge impact upon me about Swami Vivekanand's approach towards life and the way he approached to a lot of things in life. So that how again yoga got associated during this journey towards IPS. So when you start, things are not always the way you want, because we dream big at times, we dream beyond our reach also, and people there are a lot of people are there who keep on telling you that, look brother, or look buddy, you are dreaming quite big. So I had my relatives and friends who told me that, have you ever seen an IPS officer, that you are talking of becoming an IPS officer? And things like that. So it was for a kid, a small kid of class 8, 9, it becomes very heartbreaking if somebody directly tells it on your face that you are trying to have something very adventurous that is not possible. Just think into your अपने मौकात में सीखो, सोचो, समझो, ऐसी बातें. So anyways, so this was then again, let me tell you again, being this yoga day, and I'm really grateful. I'm feeling this gratefulness is coming again and again, that I got this topic to speak about yoga. I might appear in a khaki, but at times you might even feel me in Girwa also, because I was a person who was actually moving towards Girwa, and who finally donned this khaki. So even while I was in my college, after my first part 1, part 1 is second year, we used to say that. After that, I actually took up 1 month sannyas, you might say. And it was like this, that I wanted to explore the world, and I was greatly influenced by the Indian, the mystical ways of our Indian society, and especially the saintly ways of living. So as a kid only, I was always very disciplined kid. I was never a person who जो बच्चे बदमाशी करने वाला बच्चा मैं नहीं था कभी भी. So I used to be very composed into myself. I used to be very active, very energetic, but there was always a composer around me. So when after this college, this about telling about yoga, I wanted to. There was a book which I had studied in my class 8, 9 called Autobiography of a Yogi by Swami Paramhansa Yogananda. So this book still has a very great impact upon me. And after that, Swami Vivekananda spoke and all. So I decided that let us explore the world, let us explore whether money is really important, is the worldly things around us is really important. Let's just see. So I told my parents that, look, I'm going to return back. I'm not going to become a sannyasi. I'll come back. Have faith, I'll come back. And then I had just one piece of cloth around me, and this was not a gerua, that was something, khaki type jaisa tha kuch. So like a dhoti. And I went walking all the way from Kolkata till Banaras, Varanasi, and returned back. So it took me around 45 days or 45 odd days. And with that, I had a friend also with me. That was basically my experiments with my own ways of my experiments with life and truth. So there again, this yoga came as a good support system for me. And a lot of things, then I was into a mystical ways, because you have to be not normal to do all these things. So I believe I was not normal then. And I had these, what you call these, endorphins, like, the happy hormones around me. I still have that. You'll always find me smiling. You'll always find me happy. So I have this high level of endorphins in me going around. So I believe during this whole course of going towards becoming an IPS officer, this yoga still has, I believe, this yoga has still, my basic philosophy is yoga. My basic philosophy of life is, derived somewhere from this yogic understanding of life. So, ma'am, I would like to say, and I would like to rather to say, like, confess to the house that I'm actually a yogi moving around in Kanchi. So, and I have a very strong tendency which keeps attracting me towards renouncing the world. It's a very, very strong. You might actually find me renouncing the world very soon. This is, I'm telling you, it's not that I'm telling just for the sake of saying. This is a very strong move, because somewhere that yogic connection I have obtained that yogic connection somewhere, I believe. So as a kid, I had obtained. I used to go in trance for hours. I used to sit for 8-9 hours of meditation. I was in that deep into yoga. It was not like I was just a practitioner or a freelancer who was just doing it in and out. So I have this tendency of getting into trance. And still now, if I just get into my meditative, I know I'll be dragged deep into it. So that's why I was very eager to get this topic. Like once I got this topic, I said, "Ye to mujhe bolna hai." Because I am someone who has actually felt it. Believe me, you tell me to leave me something, I can leave it immediately. I have no attachments with anything, absolutely anything in this world. Anything means anything. You tell me to leave something, and if I'm convinced, I'll leave it immediately. And anything. I have no addictions in life. No wrong things, negative things attracted me in life ever till now. It's not that I had people around me who had different type of experiences and different type of interests, and they used to pull me, try to do, and I was well off. Like I was not that if I want something, I cannot get something. My father was an engineer. I come from somewhat upper middle class family. So always, seeing everything around me, like I was all well, but still, what stopped me? Like what kept me disciplined? Like what helped me not get into any form of addiction? What helped me understand a situation outside me? What helped me understand something from the perspective of the person whom I am addressing? What made me understand life beyond me and you? So these things have become somewhat a guiding principle in life. And I believe this topic which says that drug addiction and mental health, the role of yoga there, I believe there's a huge role, but yes, you need someone who can pass on this, this tenet of yoga more than just being a teacher. It is something which has to be experienced. I believe it cannot be taught. I cannot preach you on yoga. It comes from within. I can just ignite you maybe, but then it all becomes very much internal. It's an internal business of yoga. But when it comes to de-addiction and all, you see, I've understood that there's some 12 steps and all in de-addiction therapies. But what I have understood is why still many people fall back again to their earlier regimes. Why this de-addiction things are not working for them. Many times what happens that even now we do yoga as something like more like something physical. Yoga has become more of postures. Or after coming of our Baba Ramdev, who has actually made yoga very, very popular. A lot of credit should go to him for bringing yoga to everybody's mind and understanding that it's a layman thing, everyone can do it. So now some people have understood about pranayams, various forms of pranayam also. So they have understood it's not only about physical, it is also about something about breathing exercises, and it is also something about mental. But why yoga is not still impactful? We as a country where yoga was, yoga, what to say, the theory of yoga, the philosophy of yoga was formed and practiced for so many thousands of years. Still, why are we not practicing? If we look into our own lives, are we really following the principles of yoga? No, we are not. We are more into Charvaka philosophy of eating and merrymaking and being happy with the worldly things, pleasures and all, then into the yogic philosophy. But yes, Charvaka is also ours and yoga is also ours. But you find people outside, like find people in many other countries, who have perhaps tried to understand yoga in the proper sense. So that's what I believe, that yoga being taught in wherever, like rehabilitation centers and all, need some sort of rethinking. What we are teaching them, and because I have visited a few of rehabilitation centers also, so I have understood that it is more being used like a mechanical thing. Okay, yoga karana hai, to chalo aa jao, yoga karo. They do this, do that, do that. So that does not go deep into the person, because the person who's trying to heal himself or herself, trying to rehabilitate himself or herself, needs more than just tutoring. He or she needs more of empathy than sympathy. He or she needs more of ignition for the person than just telling him, okay, you are supposed to be good, like tutoring. So it helps them for those 3 months or 6 months when they are in the rehabilitation centers. Because here, as a policeman, I'm finding people who have relapsed, who have gone back to the old regime. So why did it did not work for them? Where was this? So what I understand, definitely, because today's theme is about rehabilitative and for the rehabilitative role of yoga for drug addiction, drug de-addiction, and for mental health. So as for drug de-addiction, I believe yes, it definitely helps. It gives the support system for anyone who's trying to overcome this drug de-addiction. But I believe that yoga has to come in before, much before in life, than trying to teach somebody or push it to someone who is now into a drug de-addiction center. So rather, the second part of about mental health, yes, I believe that yoga is very, 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 very important for mental health. But if it is better, pushed into the society and into the new generation as a way of life, and not as something which has to be done separately. That's something which needs an extra effort. That okay, you go for yoga classes, you do some yoga. Now you use the time to do yoga. So then it becomes like a work, and then a person does not really naturally, the person does not get attracted into this yogic practices. So I believe there is a great role of our families, of our teachers, in schools and everywhere, where we gradually start practicing, because we know what is yoga all about. So we start practicing this in our daily life, and we start sharing the philosophies of yoga during our lives right from the childhood. And believe me, there won't be all these problems of drug addiction and people getting into wrong habits and vices of this life. A lot of things I'm not saying, because human mind is not same. Because there's a concept that during Swami Vivekananda's, I remember in one of the stories I read, that somebody asked his Ramakrishna Paramhans that how come you have hundreds of disciples, but why Swami Vivekananda is only one? Why not you have a lot of Swami Vivekanandas? So it is definitely there's something wrong. What it is? Let explain us. So he said, look, I'm like, if you count, I'm like milk, I'm like Amrit, I'm pouring. Now you will have to have the correct type of vessel to hold me. The patrata, the word used, that you should have the patrata to get what I'm telling you. Yes, I'm pouring the same knowledge to everyone. I'm sharing the same experiences with everyone. But everyone is not able to hold it back. Only a few. That's why maybe just Vivek is one of them who has been able to take my pourings. He has got to the correct vessels. So I'm not saying that by teaching or training people with yoga every time, everybody will turn into a good person and there'll be all vices will get out of this world. It's not like that. But definitely, there'll be a lot of people who are like fence sitters who will understand. Maybe we can keep them into our own sides, keep them into the sides of the virtues, and not let them go easily into the vices. So this moral training has to come with yoga. So that's why I believe in today, today is the summer solstice also. So because of summer solstice, the yoga of 2 seasons, that today day is been chosen to be celebrated as Yoga Divas. So, we have to understand that yoga has to be gradually shared with the generations in a very subtle manner. We cannot push it because, and present generation, most of you are very junior to me also, like quite present generation. So you will not take it if we give you something, you just not take it. Still our generation was bit like हमारी generation में if the teacher says something, yeah, we accept it, yes, सर ने बोला तो ठीक है बोला होगा. But आजकल बच्चे ये सर ने बोला तो क्यों बोला है? Okay, let me Google it first. What it is all about. Let me talk to my friends. Let me discuss it out. Let me reason it out. I mean, they won't just accept things the way it comes. So, in fact, this is a goal checker. Earlier also, the generations were like what you are. हम बीच वाले सब गड़बड़ हो जाते हैं. It's going back actually. It's like a circular motion. So earlier also, when these philosophies have actually come up, you see, ये जब theories बने हैं, तो ये तो किसी किताब से तो पतंजलि ऋषि ने तो किताब में पढ़ा नहीं. How come these things came into his mind? Because he had an original mind. What now the new generations are having this original mind. So we are actually getting better with time. It's not that we are worsening. Many people, the old generations बोले आजकल के बच्चे तो बिगड़ गए, आजकल के बच्चे ये नहीं करते, वो नहीं करते. But actually आजकल के बच्चे ठीक जा रहे हैं. हम ही थे जो कि we used to take whatever जो ज्ञान दे दिया हमने ले लिया and we used to practice it also. But this is what is required: a critical mind, a rational mind, a mind which is original, a mind which is not goes कि जो भी printed आ गया वही सही है, जो भी टीवी में दिख गया वही correct है. So now it's not like that. People are using and utilizing their minds. So this is what the correct time, I believe, to get into these practices of yogic things and all. How did yoga come? In fact, was there before Patanjali Muni? Before that, don't we think that yoga has been practiced even more than this 5,000 years which we keep on telling? Yoga is a part of life of many people, believe me, even now. They don't even know, but they are in yogic practices. You don't even know that they are doing yoga, but they are actually doing yoga. So they don't have to go for a yoga class. Similarly, Patanjali Muni ne kya kiya? He understood the tenets which were afloat in the society. It was already there. It was not that Patanjali Muni came out with the yoga thing. He is not the founder of yoga. Yoga philosophy, the way of life has been even older. Maybe, in the Stone Age also people had some sort of yogic. Because human body, human mind, we keep on reflecting to the vibes of this universe in a particular way. And certain particular ways are very common, which are they get fine-tuned and some intellectual comes and then they understand, okay, how to articulate this whole thing. So he has been able to articulate it properly and convert it into a theory, convert it into an understandable philosophy where people can understand and maybe practice it. Because everybody might not have that rational mind to figure it out of this complex world, okay, what has to be taken, what has to be left. So he gave it that theory. So now I believe that yoga as a philosophy is part of many people's life, irrespective of religion. Many people try to attach it with Hinduism. But what I understand, it is not Hinduism, it is not at all about any religion. Yoga is a way of life. And believe me, many people, all across religions, if you find, even physical things which we do, are looks like something yogic practice. You take up Islam, you take up Christianity, you take up Sikhism, you take up Buddhism, you take up Jainism, you take up Hinduism. We do a lot of common practices which appears like yogic, yogic mudras or yogic postures. And not only that, the way of thinking, how you understand certain things, how we approach certain things. Again, give this thing. And what I understand about yoga is the basic philosophy of yoga is about getting your all on the same plane. Your physique, your body, your mind, your soul, everything comes together, and you get into this yogam. You get into conjunction. You become one. So that thing, every religion is teaching that. Every sect is teaching that. Even modern studios, if you go for well-being and lifestyle gurus, they are also teaching the same thing by their own different names. They किसने क्रिया योग बोल दिया, किसने भक्ति योग, a lot of Raj yoga, lot of things of yoga. Now तो और भी नए gurus हैं, they are telling their own form of yoga, and but ultimately I believe that human beings understand this yogic philosophy very well, and they understand this is like an undercurrent going across all forms of life. Even I believe even animals are practicing it in certain ways. If we really go deep into understanding, we can decipher certain, even animals get into these, not exactly the way humans can do, but they also have these type of realizations. So this this theory, the very subject of this meeting today, and that role of yoga in this preventive and rehabilitative, about like drug rehabilitation and mental health, it's a very, what do you say, like it's a perhaps the most correct topic that you chose for this today's time. And I believe I really want to thank you for bringing up this topic in this context, because it actually makes even yoga very meaningful. The people who have been suffering from these type of diseases and these type of issues and problems, when they take support of yoga, they have actually felt, many of them have actually felt that what yoga had made them, that I told about happy hormones. The people who actually practice it consciously, they'll realize that there's a different feeling when you when you come out of it. Even physical yoga postures you do, or you do a meditative yoga, or you try to get into spiritual trance, everything, each form of it will actually help in this formation of these happy hormones. And you actually realize that yes, it leaves you back with a very happy feeling. So I believe ki yoga as a practice should not only be you know it not only be shared more. It should be made part of life right from the childhood. And for that the young generations, हम आप सारे मम्मी पापा बनेंगे जब नए नए सब, तो ये आप लोग सब होंगे ना, लाइक आप होंगे जो कि नए जनरेशंस को सिखाएंगे, आप होंगे who will take along this great philosophy of life by actually practicing it yourselves. So I believe this, the kids will take it up more by watching what we do than really tutoring them. And if we start bringing in this yoga as a practice of normal life, I believe that we will have lesser issues of drug addictions and addiction to various forms of vices which are there in the society. Because with coming times, such vices are going to increase, because you see there is a lot of opening. पहले क्या होता था कि there was not much opening. People won't even know that such vices exist. अभी आप गूगल माता से पूछे, सब बता देते, ये भी है वो भी है, आपके पास इतने ऑप्शन है. आप अगर कुछ गंदगी करना चाहते हैं, इतने गंदगी के ऑप्शन है. If you want to really explore or life, or you want to even end your life, these are the ways of doing things. You can really make a life your mess by using all these type of things. So a lot of information. So I believe yoga has become now more relevant in the present society, and I believe it is high time that yoga, not in the sense of like really something which can be attached with religion, but something which is more of a way of life. If it can be more a part of us, then I believe yes, yoga is going to be a very what do you say, something which will hold us tight and hold us strong in the upcoming times. So I believe these are broadly my thoughts around yoga and this topic, and maybe we can go on to more interactive things if you want. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That is like a whole different perspective for us also. Knowing about that you have been like a police officer doing a 8 to 9 hours meditation, it's like quite shocking for most of us. So sir, like now I would like to ask like more on the like how, as you are working as in police service and your department is working relentlessly towards freeing the society from drugs and drug abusers and all those various kinds of things. So according to you, what steps like we could take, or like to prevent the youth, like from the youth and the society from substance abuse or drug abuse, like, or according or your department also, like what other steps like should be taken, or like we should like put up to like prevent this from like making our society a quite messed up thing.
Right, right, ma'am. In fact, there are two parts of this. Broadly, two parts, three parts, but we'll talk about two parts. First, one is a supply side of drugs, where the substance is available in the market. You go, you want it, you get it. यहाँ पे the role is ours. Here, the supply side is to be hit by the enforcement agencies, the police, the other forms of Narcotics Control Bureau, police, customs, a lot of other enforcement agencies. This is our duty to stop this supply part. The second part is the demand part. Now, demand is generated by the society. It comes if you want drugs. If you want drugs, or there's a demand for something. Then, as economics goes, if there is a demand, there will be supply. Okay, and so what happens? The rates will grow up. Right now, मुझे जहाँ तक पता चला कि those drugs which are available for 300 rupees are now available at 3,000 rupees. But I'm not saying we have been able to control it very much. We have been able to reduce the supplies for 70-80% now. But now the 20% thing, they will need the 100% profit. So now 100 बेच के वो 100 रुपए कमाता था, 20 बेच के 100 रुपए कमाने हैं, तो रेट्स बढ़ा दिया उसने, But we have to reduce now the demand has not gone down. That's the problem. The supply has gone down, the demand has not gone down. So to stop this problem, we have to work on the demand side and the supply side, as well as definitely this third part, which is the rehabilitation part. Because now there will be people who will be like, filtered down. Okay, now I want to leave. What do I do? Because we have cut down to supply. Now it has come to our notice that there are many people who have unfortunately died because they have not got drugs and they could not get access to rehabilitation. But the demand, this thing is that the withdrawal symptoms are so high for drugs, like it makes life miserable. So from our side, our role is clear to stop these drugs, that we go very, very tough against anybody who is into drugs, or who, like for us, I'm telling you in open platform, like for us, those who are into drugs, who are taking drugs, who are addicts, we try not to harm them in any ways, the legal point of view. There are people, in the society also, they keep on telling us, sir, here is a drugs guy, he's a drugs guy. But that they think that they are, any person who is taking drugs, the society is stigmatizing the person by telling that this person is a criminal. And if we bring the person counsel and tell him, send him to the rehabilitation, then the same person says, police ने पैसे लेके छोड़ दिया उसको. तो वो तो culprit ही नहीं था ना. He is a victim. He is not the accused. But now society, because this has happened, I'm telling you, this has happened in past also, where police also was perhaps losing interest in working for this, because every time they will come across, mostly they will come across an addict. The peddlers and the big suppliers will be into many chains, and they'll be far across, before. But the first time the society interacts, they interact with the addict and the police. And the first time, what police does is they send them for rehabilitation, or they counsel them, let them go home, and the society starts, putting blame upon police. Police ने पैसे लेके छोड़ दिए, police ने पैसे लेके छोड़ दिए, which is not at all true. The police loses the interest in now working for them. This was earlier. This used to happen. So the society has to understand whom you are dealing with. He is an addict. He is a victim. He is not an accused. Now what has happened? Now what I can tell about Nagaon, at least what we are doing. So I have taken this strategy of those who are addicts. We are definitely getting them into rehabilitation part. Wherever we can get, we are counseling their parents and trying to push them into rehabilitation. There is no other way out. We cannot say you can stay at home and try to be a good boy. वो सब नहीं होगा. If you try to do that, you go to jail. You go to a rehabilitation center, you get well, then only. If you are under treatment, okay, you are away from lockup. If you are not under treatment, you are in the law. Simple. You are not out. With drugs, you are not out. This is number one. Second, definitely the small time peddlers and all who are there, we are hitting them very, very hard. Like in 1 month, more than 200 people are already in jail. So that's how this thing has suddenly, the lower rung has completely got off. Now comes the middle rung. We have already hit the fee for big guys also. We're hitting them, they have the supply, the network has broken in between. I'm not telling it is broken for always. It must be held tightly, otherwise it will relapse again. It will again, these guys will again become active. And then are the big guys. Recently, Karbi Anglong police did a very good job. That a person called Didi got arrested from Karbi Anglong also. She was a big timer in this chain. I believe there are bigger than her also who are across borders or somewhere who are again pushing things. So this is a huge chain, and we have to, as police agency, as enforcement agency, you see the problem of drugs, drug abuse, the problem of certain things, have been there in society since the time society is there. Now it is our duty as scavengers of the society, what I call police, that we need to keep cleaning it completely. We are like vipers, there is rain and we are like vipers on the car screen. You have to keep on cleaning it, keep on cleaning. The moment we stop, the vision gets blurred and you meet an accident. So we are like car vipers. But if you say I will stop the rain, That is also possible, but for that, a lot of other things have to be, we have to get into it, and now Assam Police is doing that. We are actually now trying to hit onto the rain, and we are trying to stop the rain itself. Okay, but at the same time, as of now, we are working like the vipers, continuously cleaning the system. At the same time, there's a second prong approach. We are trying to hit upon how to stop the rain. That whole chain. And but the most important part here again comes is that the role of society. We must not only blame the police for drugs. पुलिस ने तो drugs introduce नहीं करा है society में. पुलिस ने तो नहीं किया ना कि आप drugs खाओ या कुछ करो. Okay, our role is in stopping the supply part. We are doing that. But how will we be able to be successful till the time the people that are there who are wanting drugs? Why not the families are taking the responsibility? Why not the teachers are taking the responsibility? Why not the society is taking responsibility of handling their kids? Who is giving the kids the money? पुलिस तो पैसे नहीं दे रहा उनको कि ये लो पैसे लाके जाके ड्रग्स पियो. पापा मम्मी ने दिए, किसी ने तो घर वाले ने दिए. उन्होंने क्यों नहीं पूछा कि बेटा मैंने तेरे को 100 रुपए दिए, वो क्या किया 100 रुपए? Why the father or the mother or the teacher was not eager to understand कि जब बच्चे का आंखें ऐसे चढ़े होके घर आए थे, क्यों नहीं पूछा कि बेटा तेरी आंखें चढ़ी हुई क्यों? Why the teachers of the society is not asking, Aki, who are your friends? Where are you loitering around? Where were you yesterday night? What is this? Why there are punctures on your hands? Why your clothes are like this? Why are you staying shabby? Why are you behaving differently? Who will ask these questions? It is to be asked by the family, it is to be asked by the teachers, it is to be asked by the society. So that until unless we hit the demand side, believe me, we will be like the wipers only. Best काम है, अगर हो सकता है, तो जो कार है उसको हम गैरेज में रखें ठीक से. जब कार को हम फेंक देंगे, बाहर निकाल देंगे ना, तो फिर वाइपर चलाना पड़ेगा. हम वाइपर कब तक चलाएंगे? The moment wiper stops, there will be an accident. So we need to maintain, if the weather is bad, we have to take care of what vehicles we take out. We have to ensure that we take care of our vehicles. So that's how I request the society to come forward, take the responsibility. Let us not only blame everyone across in the world कि इसके चलते हो रहा, उसके चलते हो रहा, उसके चलते रहे. कुछ हमारे चलते भी हो रहा है, ये बात समझे. Let's do that part. Once we start doing that, believe me, lot of the problem will be solved in no time. 1 महीना करके देखिए. मैं नौगांव की जनता को आपकी तरफ से, आपकी इस मंच से मैं आग्रह करता हूँ, 1 महीना करके देखिए. मैं बता रहा हूँ, we will have zero drugs in Nagaon. The supply side, I'm still telling 70% तक कम से कम मैं बता सकता हूँ, और मतलब डंके की चोट बोल सकता हूँ, नगांव से 70% ड्रग सफाया हो चुका है 1 महीने में. We took only 1 month. Now 30% के लिए तो सोसाइटी सामने आए. We have to, that war has to be a collective war. Once we come, definitely yes, rehabilitative part में जो आता है, rehabilitation की जरूरत है. Government has already started taking much interest in this rehabilitation things, and I believe there will be much improvement of rehabilitation infrastructure in Assam, and the people who genuinely want to come out of it will get the sun of the day. They will definitely see it very soon.
Okay.
Sir, this is Dr. Kalam from Karimganj district.
We are going to.
Sir, am I audible?
Okay, we are going to take questions. Please just hold on. You have to switch off your camera and audio as well. We are going to take the questions.
Hello, sir. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, let's go on.
Hello, this is Dr. Kalam from Karimganj.
Okay. Dr. Kalam, you can ask your question to sir directly.
Sir, first of all, I want to convey my heartfelt gratitude to interact with us, and we had a great time with you, sir. And I salute you for your mission against the drug to make Assam drugs free. And you should stand tall against these, and you should remain as a rock solid and indestructible. And maybe there will be forces which will try to demoralize you. But I assure you that our Ayurvedic fraternity and GSTH, and we as a doctor fraternity will remain stand by you always. And I salute your stamina and enthusiasm and your loyalty, your truthfulness, and you had a great soul. And I wish you good luck. And sir, one more thing I want to discuss with you, that I have seen. Actually, I as a doctor, I went to a rehabilitation center also. I have treated many patients there, but I have seen their actual purpose is not good, or they are just for making money or something else. My doubt was that they are also interrelated with these drug peddlers or drugs, etc. So I want to throw you. I want to know from the government side. My appeal to government is that they should start a something to check these things that these drug addiction rehabilitation centers also are interrelated with these. And I hope from Assam police and these GSH will make a forum in near future to start a movement against drug and to inculcate the young minds in this field, so that we as a doctor can assure our society and make our society free from drug addiction.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Kalam. In fact, thank you for your kind words, and I understand that you understand things very well. You have some deep insight about. You have also known certain things which only policemen are supposed to know. But still, really nice, and definitely I'll keep it in mind. And we do keep a close surveillance upon whosoever is working in this field. And if ever we come across anybody who is in the garb of rehabilitation, trying to do any hanky-panky business, we'll definitely catch
I wish I.
Dr. Kalam, your audio is currently off.
I want near future. I want you as a superintendent of police of my district, that is Karimganj district, and I welcome you in advance, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words.
Thanks for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It's my privilege to have you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, then we can move on to our next question, sir. Actually, many has congratulated you for such a nice discussion. Dr. Yanbeni Hamsoy, Dr. Habibul Haq, Dr. Nilakshi ma'am. So many has appreciated you. So I would like to take my first question from Vishal Priyam Deka. How can drug addicts be convinced that getting out of addiction is tough but not possible? Sir, am I audible?
Sir, your audio is currently off.
Right. Right. So how can drug addicts be convinced that getting out of addiction is tough but not impossible? Right?
Yeah.
Right. So ma'am, this is something very personal. Like, how can we convince? Because we can convince them by showing them a better life. The life that they are into, the highs, the kicks that they are getting out of drugs. We have to give them something from which they get a kick, but that will not be drugs. So we have to tell them what they're missing onto life. Like if they are having drugs, these are the good things of life that they're missing. So we have to basically reason it out with them that what is better, the life of drugs or the life without drugs. So we'll always have to offer them something better. Then only we can convince them why they should leave drugs. Or we have to make them understand their responsibilities towards certain people they love, the people they want in life. So I believe there has to be a good counseling system through which, first of all, we'll have to convince the person to abdicate drugs, because the person should be convinced. Like pushing somebody zabardasti, okay, you go in a de-addiction center may not be a good idea, because if the person is not convinced about why I should get de-addicted, the person will always relapse. So the person, the urge has to come from within. Abhi jaise hum log karte hain. So I personally do not see it as a viable ways, because we as police officers zabardasti usko na gala pakad ke chal tumko de-addiction karayenge. तो वो तो डर से चला जाता है de-addiction center में. But he is not convinced that why he should get de-addicted. He is going just because okay, chalo, let's try to get it done. Otherwise, he'll put me into the jail. So this is not a viable, this is not a viable way of convincing an addict. So I believe we should give better options of life to the addict. We should, make the addict face with something the person loves over his love for drugs. So then only, so here we need someone who's a really good counselor. We need the help of family members. We need the help of friends, or maybe if somebody is having some love in life, so maybe they can help out. So I believe those things can help.
We have other questions also. The next question is like from Roshan Sahu. He has asked while dealing with the drug abusers, what is the most common cure that you have found among cure for the drug abusers you came across? Like, what is the most common cure that you have found?
Common cure, drug abusers. Common cure to drug abusers के लिए like as policemen, अभी क्या बोल रहा है, common cure तो सबको पता है पुलिस का common cure क्या ही होता है, तो that becomes the immediate cure. In fact, for the drug abusers जो होता है, the immediate cure is yes, our toughest stand, we take them toughly in a tough way, and we put them in the proper criminal justice system. So that is the immediate way, but the common cure will be definitely perhaps I believe the love of his people will cure him. The care that he will get from the people he or she loves will maybe come as a cure to them, and that will be perhaps the easiest, the cheapest, and the easily available cure that can come to them. And with definitely some medical help also will be required, because once somebody is trying to leave drugs, the body starts behaving in a different way. So we need some medical intervention also. So that is easily available with the local. Locally also some medical supplements and alternative medicines are available. But what will hold them good is the love of their family, the support of their friends, and the peer groups. So I believe that will be the most common cure. And from police point of view, everybody knows what is the immediate cure that we give once we get with someone like this. So
we can take on different questions. Mr. Naranjati Sharma, he has asked, I want to know what can be done to minimize the distraction. As being in emergency service, we doctor in emergency service, we are expected to be an outspoken and on the move for 24/7. Like how to minimize the distraction in our life? Like he has asked that question.
Distraction, you mean? Distraction.
Yes,
Distractions. Sir. Okay. I think your attraction has to be strong enough to remove the distractions. Okay. So you choose onto your attractions. Like what are your attractions? Like your passions, your interest areas, what you want to do. So you focus more on that, make it more interesting, more attractive. And I believe when the attractions are strong, the distractions will definitely vanish in no time. So, my ways of distractions removal are like mission mode working. Like if suppose I've decided that Nogao को drugs free बनाना, तो मुझे और कुछ नहीं दिखता, अभी Nogao को drugs free बनाना है. So whatever needs to be done will do it. So you have to have that mission mode, and you have to take it onto yourself. You have to challenge your own soul. That yes, I have to do it, so I have to do it. What may it come, I'll complete my task. So that ये जुनून होना पड़ेगा थोड़ा सा. अगर ये जुनून कभी डाउन होता है, अगर होता है, there are times when you feel down. There are people who will try to pull you back. There will be situation and you'll not be able to perform. Then these are times when you actually, for me, I'll pick up my guitar. I'll go on a bike ride. I'll do some philanthropy. I'll get into certain things which I like at a personal level. So these are my better attractions. So if I have a goal going this side, I have a distraction these sides, and there is a support mechanism of your hobbies, your passions, your interest areas. So when you are drifting towards distraction, get stopped into your this hobby areas, passion areas, reading a book, singing a song, going on a drive, going for an outing, meeting friends. So I believe once we start doing that, the distractions will be less. Plus at the same time, if you think something is distracting you, if you think that something again, let's say Vivekananda की एक बात मैं बोलना चाहूँगा कि this thing Swami Vivekananda, he was asked what is virtue, what is vice, पुण्य क्या है, पाप क्या है. He explained it very well, and in a very small line, that whatever makes you weak is sin. आपको जो भी कमजोर बनाता है वही पाप है. So you decide कि आप अगर कुछ भी distract हो रहा है, कोई भी चीज अगर आपको distract, for example, if I am suppose working somewhere, but I want to play my guitar, I'm playing my guitar and I'm feeling good about it, I'm feeling strong about it. This is not a distraction. This is a virtue at the moment, because this is giving me strength to go ahead further. Similarly, but if I'm doing something which is making, मैं ये सोचता हूँ कि एक पैक दारू पी लेता हूँ और उसके बाद ना दिमाग काम कर रहा है ना कुछ भी काम कर रहा है, then I become like down, I'm feeling weak, and definitely it is not a virtue. So that's my distraction. So we have to understand. बहुत बार क्या होता है, जिन्होंने क्वेश्चन पूछा आपके लिए बता रहा हूँ, हम जिस चीज को डिस्ट्रैक्शन समझते हैं वो एक्चुअली डिस्ट्रैक्शन होता नहीं है, वो आपका सपोर्ट मैकेनिज्म होता है. ये भी समझने की जरूरत है. Whether your distraction is taking you out of your track, आप जिस रास्ते में जा रहे हो उससे क्या वो हटा के गिरा के फेंक दे रहा है, या तो एक वो आपके लिए स्ट्रेस बस्टर है. तो डोंट कॉल इट अ डिस्ट्रैक्शन. many parents think कि हमारा बच्चा पढ़ाई कर रहा है, वो बार बार खेलने जाता है, वो डिस्ट्रैक्शन नहीं है खेलना उसका, वो स्ट्रेस बस्टर है खेलना. So we are not really understanding what is a distraction. Distraction will be something which will make you weak. Distraction will be something which will take you off guard. Distraction will be something which will not let you focus and go ahead with your goal. So small time जो distraction होता है, that may not be actually distraction. That may be your hobby, that may be your interest, that may be your passion. So first of all, understand what is a distraction, and then work on it. If you really find it distraction, then your mind will make it strong. Make a strong will. No, this is going to make me lose my main goal. Leave it and focus on the things and go. That is one small weak moment जहाँ आपको टाइट होने की जरूरत है. वो मोमेंट आप टाइट हो गए तो निकल जाएंगे. It's like a bumper on the road. अगर आप कभी स्लो में गाड़ी चलाई है ना, तो जब बम्पर पे जाते हैं, बम्पर मतलब जो हम्प होता है रास्ते में, स्पीड ब्रेकर, उस पर धीरे चलाएंगे ना, जब आप धीरे हो जाएंगे, स्लो हो जाएंगे, तो टक टक करके वो बाइक अगर स्पेशली आप चलाते हो, गिरने का भी चांस होता है उसमें. और आप स्पीड में निकलते हैं ना, जुक करके आप निकल जाएंगे, वो एकदम हम्प होगा एंड यू आर आउट. So these type of distractions will keep coming, but understand whether it is actually distraction या तो ये आपका stress buster है. बहुत लोग आज के टाइम में ना stress buster को distraction बोलते हैं. Right? Next.
Okay, sir. Next question we have by Dr. Nilakshi Dev Chaudhary. Has yoga been effective in helping de-addiction? Like, if you share a small story, like positive story.
Yes, yoga has been actually very helpful in de-addiction. No doubts about that. Yoga, in fact, gives you a base for de-addiction therapies. Yoga, it gives not only philosophical base, it gives a spiritual and even sometimes religious base. Because when you go for de-addiction, then you have to first have a greater, you have to have respect for a greater force. You have to have respect for something bigger than what you are living. So yoga gives you that base to establish yourself on a higher footing. If I take up yoga, yes, I'm better, I am stronger, I am richer, I am of a higher quality. So that yoga gives you the base. From there, when you actually look down upon your biceps. Oh my God, I was doing this, I was dying down like an animal, एक मतलब बीमार जानवर की तरह मैं मरा हुआ पड़ा था, एक ड्रेन में गटर में पड़ा रहता था, अपने आप को इंजेक्शंस भोके जा रहा था. कर क्या रहा था मैं? यहाँ पे somebody with spirituality is calling me, the universe is calling me, I'm tying up with the universe. That gives you a very high pedestal to start with the de-addiction theory, the de-addiction programs. At the same time, it holds the person well intact through the whole program. So yoga is actually very important. In one or the other form, you cannot remove yoga if you really want to go for de-addiction. It is one of the primary things which will, you might call it different, you might call it this theory, that therapy, ये वो जो भी आप नाम बोल दीजिए, but that will be the basic thing. The crux will be that will be yoga. So this yoga is actually very important. We cannot have any de-addiction program without this yoga. What we understand as yoga, whatever name you can call it.
I have a question from my side, sir. So how are you so much positive and happy, and how do you stay positive all the time? Can you smile every time? So how do you stay positive?
It's Chinmay, 2-3 things. As I told, because from since childhood there are certain happy souls also in this world. You have to accept it. So maybe I am one of the happy souls, which that is one. The second thing is right from the childhood, I had this. There's certain things which come naturally into one person, that you tend to get attracted to certain things which are beyond human understanding. I have this tendency of getting drawn to the occult, and more than that, right from the childhood only. Somewhere I remember this Gautam Buddha's story as well. No, like I got influenced as a kid with Gautam Buddha's story also. Like losing all interest after seeing these 4 signs of decay in life. So that is there. Plus, after joining my services, and especially now after joining the police force, I've seen death very, very closely. Very closely means very closely. Like I've seen bullets passing right from here and from my own body. So I've seen death 1 inches from my body. So, and I've seen people die, and I've seen people, losing life. The big guys, they used to think that they are the big batch of everything, and they lose life in no time. So this minuscule fact that we are living and not living, it's a matter of 1 second. This second I'm living, and the next second I'm not living. So once that is clear, then why to cry? So जब तक है तो हंसते रहिए, मुस्कुराते रहिए, because we never know. I always personally, I'm telling you, I don't know how everyone takes it, but at a personal level, I always think this is my last moment. I don't know after the webinar, so maybe this is my last moment. So why should I allow anything to spoil my mood, and why should anything make me unhappy? I should be happy about whatever happens with me, because whatever happens for some good cause. ये मान के मैं खुश रहता हूँ. अब और एक बात थी चिन्मय जी, पता लास्ट में बताऊँ, जब आप स्माइल करते हैं ना किसी के साथ या किसी पे, तो वो क्या होता है कि the person gets a positive vibe, उसे अच्छा लगता है, the person feels good about it. But I frown upon you, I keep my, it's very tough. तो मैं अगले वाला भी तकलीफ में आ जाता है, और खुद भी पूरा स्ट्रेस जनरेट हो जाता है. So I'm naturally like that. I don't feign, it's not like a cosmetic smile that I take, because again that is also very stressful. A cosmetic smile is very, very stressful. You ask the people who are in the hospitality business. You go on an aeroplane and you find people, they have to smile. Whatever you tell, they have to smile. Many times there are people, happy souls there also, but there are many people who commit suicides. I know people who have been into certain hospitality things and they're committing suicide. But evening you found them smiling, and by night they have hung themselves. What made that? Because that cosmetic smile, the cosmetic happiness also keeps you in stress. So if happiness comes naturally, enjoy it. Okay, if not, then try to do something to create that natural happiness.
So happiness from inside is the key.
Okay. Since we are running short of time now, so I would like to take the last question, sir, by Devasish Saikya. He says, it's amazing that in the midst of a tiring job, you find a taste in music. We have seen you performing in stages, and leaves no opportunity to tune into whenever you get a chance to hold the guitar. Sir, could you please tell us, how do you see music through the lens of your profession? And we would be very much grateful to hear a snippet of your favorite song, as we are eagerly waiting for that moment.
Thank you so much, Devashish sir. Thank you so much for this question. In fact, yes, that's true. I'll tell you one thing. I'm a very introvert person. Otherwise, my interest in yoga and all. I'm very introvert. People won't accept it, but I'm very introvert. I'm very shy also maybe. So music, had I not been shy, I'm telling you, Devashish ji, मैं अगर shy नहीं होता, introvert नहीं होता, मैं rockstar बनता, मैं पुलिस वाला नहीं होता, पक्का मैं rockstar होता. Just because of my shyness, मैं गिटार मिलती ना, मैं गाता तो हूँ, but बहुत शर्माता हूँ. You'll find this hesitation on my face. You'll find it in my voice also. मैं बहुत शर्माता हूँ मुझे, and I become very cautious. Even मैं अकेले में गाऊँ ना और ठीक से गाना अगर गाने लगूँ, खुद में cautious हो जाता हूँ. और फिर अगला लाइन गड़बड़ हो जाता है. So I keep forgetting songs also. So I have to always keep my mobile in front to remember things. I keep forgetting. So that is a drawback I have, but yes, I do enjoy it whenever I'm like alone, especially, and I do not really perform for people. Somehow ये थोड़ा सा viral हो गया बोल के लोग ज़्यादा म्यूजिक करते हैं, otherwise मुझसे ज़्यादा अच्छे लोग करने वाले प्रैक्टिस में ज़्यादा हैं. तो इसके अलावा like through my profession, if you see, yes, music is food for soul. I believe and you'll find many people in uniform singing and having very good choice, and they're actually very good singers. Who are into music, like many police officers, even in Assam, there are many police officers, amazing singers, amazing musicians. So I'm just one of them. And from the eyes, by the way, today is also World Music Day, आज ये भी है, इंटरनेशनल म्यूजिक डे भी है आज, तो या तो वो भी है, तो इसलिए from the lens of this profession, when we see music from this lens of police, it is actually very soothing. It is very much de-stressing, and it also helps bonding with people within the forces, within the our own fraternity, as well as from people from who are not into the police also. And it definitely passes on a message of love, because वो गाना था ना कि हर दिल जो प्यार करेगा वो गाना गाएगा, so it's like that, so it's a message of love also. So I believe that anybody and everybody should hold on to singing or music in any form. नहीं गाते तो सुनिए, सुनते नहीं गाते नहीं बजाइए, कुछ भी करिए, कुछ नहीं तो just like it, anything, but one should always have music in life, because music is food for soul. That's what I understand. Thank you. And वो जो last आपने कहा था, eagerly waiting for that moment, snippet of your favorite song, तो सर वो तो उस पे है ही, आपने देखा ही होगा कहेंगे, तो उसमें ले लीजिए. मैं शर्माता हूँ, as I told, I find myself very out of place, but देवाशीष जी, maybe हम कभी मिले, जरूर मिले, and maybe we can sit together and I'll definitely sing a song for you, definitely.
Hello, sir. Actually, I have a question. I am from IIT Bombay. Actually, I want to ask you questions. So, do you think the modern generations are preparing for the UPSC exams? Do you think it's a healthy competitions from your point of view? Because one post according to ratio is too much high, and end of the results is frustrations. So, do you think it's a healthy competition, sir?
Nice question, Hemanji. In fact, yes, this is a healthy competition, I believe. Because what happens that our perspective towards the exam should be just like any other exam we take. It is one of the attempts that we are making. During the preparation of any exam, especially UPSC's gamut is so big, so huge that I personally am telling you one example. I am here that I believe even if I would not have been selected for UPSC, I believe I would have been a better knowledgeable, because देखिए स्कूल कॉलेज में पढ़ा तो था, एग्जाम भी पास कर लिया था, कितना ज्ञान था वो मुझे आई एम नॉट श्योर, और कितना अप्लाई कर सकता था मैं रियल लाइफ में, उसको लेकर मैं श्योर नहीं था. UPSC gave me that perspective. It actually made me an educated person. Otherwise, I was literate. Definitely, I was literate. I had a degree and everything, But to articulate what I understand the thing in its totality, to understand various subjects in cross reference to each other, to understand where I can apply the knowledge which I have acquired from the books, where I can apply in society. These things I acquired during my preparatory phase for UPSC. Not only that, UPSC, during preparation of UPSC, it needs, what happens? It's more about the exam of a personality rather than the exam of intellect, I believe. A person who can hold on to that pressure, a person who can hold on to that frustration which you are talking about, a person who can hold on to that the zeal to get it and the fear of failing, the person who finally makes it through, this all experience in totality makes a person definitely a better person. Anybody who's the person who ends up in frustration, I believe the person needs some counseling, and I believe one should not think in that way. There are people who have not qualified UPSC and they have done something more better than UPSC, and people who have qualified UPSC are working under them. So one should never ever think that UPSC is the end of the world. I believe, Hemanji, the first thing one should start UPSC preparation is that this is not the end of the world. This is one thing which I'll try in life. Let us see if I can do it or not. And with the correct perspective, if somebody attempts, the UPSC preparation will leave back a better person than how you started preparing. I believe so. I really believe so. That you will leave back not only intellectually better, educationally better, but also better human being, a person who has learned to fight his own self, a person who has learned to fight and stabilize his or her own emotions. So UPSC in that way is quite good. Yes, one a bit of here and there, for some people it turns out to be very frustrating, but I request all those friends that you are maybe a better person, a better lot than those who are getting qualified. Maybe, at some point of time, or maybe God does not want you to be there, or the fortunes want you to be somewhere else. So take it like that, and shine wherever you are doing, because UPSC is definitely not the end of the world. And those who are getting selected in UPSC are definitely one of the best people, but there are many better people who are not getting selected and doing much better somewhere else.
Sir, once again I am here. Sir, there are lots of civil servant aspirants from GSCH. And me, I am also a civil service aspirant. Sir, what tips you will provide us in a gist for civil service?
ओके मैं इनका जवाब क्विकली दे देता हूँ डॉक्टर कलाम का कि लाइक इसमें आई विल एडवाइस दैट फर्स्ट वन जो मैंने बोला भी हेमंत जी से व्हाट आई सेड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हैव अ क्लियर फ्रेम ऑफ माइंड एंड नेवर एवर थिंक दैट दिस इज गोइंग टू बी लाइक नहीं हुआ तो क्या होगा यू आर बाय द वे आपसे प्रोफेशनल्स आपकी तो बात ही अलग है यू आर ऑलरेडी इनटू you always have options in life. The only thing I say कि first of all get hold of the correct scheme of exam कि एग्जाम में आता क्या है उसके get hold of the goods पूरा सिलेबस को अच्छे से समझ लीजिए. Then understand that go through the question papers. That will keep your preparation focused. कि आप जो पढ़ते हैं किस लाइन में पढ़ना है the question papers will give you that focus. And study it repeatedly. Read one book 10 times. Don't read 10 books once each. Okay. Why I'm telling you this? Once the concepts and all are clear in your head, then this whole content is in your head. Now you start with the higher form of knowledge analysis. Then you start analyzing. Then you start playing with that content. And then what comes out is perhaps much better than what you have. आपने पढ़ा कुछ लेकिन जो निकल के आएगा वो बेटर क्वालिटी का होगा. लेकिन अगर आप 10 बार एक ही 10 किताब को बार-बार पढ़े, ये पढ़े, वो पढ़े, सब कुछ पढ़ रहे, then you will not have time to utilize your brain. Then you become like just a hogger जो खाली read कर रहा है. But उसमें क्या होता है results नहीं आता. When you go to write something, you get confused because you know so much that you get confused. So थोड़ा सा पढ़िए उसको ज्यादा जैसे गाय होती है ना थोड़ा सा खाती है पूरा चबाती रहती है तो वैसा होना है जुगाली करते रहते हैं. Thank you sir. Thank you sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
With this, we come to today's end of today's session. Sir, will you give any take-home message for our youth, or should I end?
I'll just you might complete, ma'am. In fact, I'll just say that be positive in life, and we must respect the life which we have got. ये जिंदगी बार-बार नहीं मिलती है. We've got a human body. We have got a thoughtful mind. And we have innumerable the opportunities before us, and the potential is just it cannot be tied down by anyone. जब भी मन खराब हो ना कोई बाहर की चीज आपको डिस्टर्ब करे एक बात आप खुद को अलग करके देखिएगा. You are a soul piece. आप अकेले पैदा करते हैं. Anytime you want you can just cut off the corrections. आप जब चाहें आप अपने में रहिए सब छोड़ दीजिए. मैं तो यही सोचता हूँ जब ज्यादा होता है ना मैं हमेशा यही सोचता हूँ I can always cut off and become a slave. जाओ तुम यहाँ से नहीं मैं अपने जी लूंगा. तो ये जब होता है the point तो ये जब भी पॉइंट्स स्टेप से आपके दिमाग में रहते हैं then you are able to handle situations easily. Plus always do what matters. These are the 3 lines in a Petroller Cop. I have a YouTube channel called Petroller Cop. You can find certain videos also there. तो उस पे I keep these are our taglines. Do what matters. The Petroller Cops में do what matters. So don't do something which is just useless. जिसका कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, कोई काम नहीं, कोई मकसद नहीं है. ऐसा चीज करके जिंदगी का एक मोमेंट भी वेस्ट नहीं करना है. So always try to keep doing something that matters to you or to somebody else. But it should matter. It should not be just हवा में ऐसे ही टाइम पास कर रहे हैं. लोग कहते हैं ना क्या करो टाइम पास करो. ये मत करना लाइफ में बाकी सब करना. Thank you so much.
Okay, with this, we come to an end of today's session. Lastly, I would like to conclude by saying that yoga helps in controlling the fluctuations of mind and helps in channelizing the energies of our body. So, regular practice of yoga is utmost important. With this, I would like to thank our principal, Dr. Ramakanta Sarma sir, our guest, Mr. Anand Mishra sir, for your valuable presence and making this session a great success. Sir, it was nice talking to you, and we hope that in coming future, you will grace us by your actual presence in Government Ayurvedic College, and it will be very helpful to us, sir. And thanks to all the audience for your patient hearing. Thanks to my co-host Chinmay Ray for being such a good sport. And I would like to thank Government Ayurvedic College Student Union for giving everyone this platform so that we can discuss the matter of yoga and drug addiction with someone who is so deeply into yoga. And with this, I would like to conclude today's session. Thank you so much, everyone.